Welcome. Welcome to Fearless with Jason Whitlock. I am Jason Whitlock, your host. Happy Tuesday. We have an awesome, powerful show planned for you today. We will get right into it. I will say the second half of this show, we will lighten things up. We'll talk about Christian Wilkins, the Raiders defensive tackle that was cut after trying to kiss his teammate. We'll talk about the unbelievable event that happened in the WNBA. If you haven't seen that, it's unbelievable. And we'll also reset and have a little conversation about Deion Sanders and his announcement that he had bladder cancer. But we're going to begin today's show talking about the Black KKK. And people, it's going to trigger some people, the fact that I'm even referencing the Black KKK. But we're going to talk about it today because it is quite necessary. The Black fatigue is at an all-time high, and it's reaching any and everyone, including Alex Jones. Alex Jones, you guys know him. 9/11 or 9/11 was an inside job. Alex Jones from the Sandy Hook debacle. Alex Jones, one of the Nostradamus of our era, is had enough, and this Cincinnati Jazz Festival violence that everyone's been talking about over social media over the last 48 hours has finally sent Alex over the line, over the edge. Well, not over the line. He's done nothing inappropriate, but he's addressed it head on. I want to play you a couple of clips from Alex Jones yesterday. He's got the same black fatigue as everyone else. I've been talking about this black fatigue for a long time, much longer than just this past year, and we'll get into that at some point because I think it's all related to this Black KKK that no one wants to talk about. But let's first hear from Alex Jones yesterday talking about what the events that happened in Cincinnati.
All right, this morning I saw the video below from Cincinnati, Ohio a few days ago. A scene we've seen thousands and thousands of times, groups of black people beating up outnumbered white people, men, women, children, you name it. And so I didn't just believe the video. I went and checked the local Cincinnati news and saw some blurbs about it that indeed happened. And they just said basically unprovoked, they just beat up this white guy and this white lady. And so I posted the video, and I noticed half the commenters are like, I'm creating racism and I'm stirring up trouble. No, the national media will not cover this garbage. And if you had all these groups of white people going around randomly beating up black people, I'd be against it. You know, some of that happened back in the 50s and 60s and before that with the KKK. And I protested their ass and been all over them, but they haven't done that kind of stuff in decades because they're a joke now. So I don't want to hear this. The left has made it open season on white people. Same thing in Europe with the Islamists attacking, just stabbing white babies every day as their main target in strollers and run over people with their cars, screaming Allah Akbar. It's all anti-white, anti-Christian stuff. Most black people obviously aren't like that. They're great people. But black folks are 13% of the population, so half that is the men. So it's about 6.5%. And then between the ages of about 14 and 25 or so, that demographic commits about 40% of the violent crime in America. We're talking maybe 1.5% of the population. And black folks know about it. Saw a lot of black folks actually comment going, no, I'm black, and I'm not going to go down one of those big downtown urban deals. Yeah, there'll be a lot of nice black people, but also some of the really crazy ones. So, you know, it's something going on, and it's wrong, and I'm spotlighting it so that culturally we can say it's wrong to go up and just start attacking and beating somebody because they're black or because they're white. And listen, folks, I'll need to read about it in the newspaper, okay?
All right, so that's Alex Jones talking about the elephant in the room that everybody, black, white, brown, yellow, everybody in America knows there is this problem. Young black men and young black women out of control, out of emotional control, violent, easily triggered, anything sets them off, mob violence. And we saw I showed you all yesterday on Harmony. We showed you all the video of the Cincinnati brawl, and I want to play that again for you today of what transpired in Cincinnati. A white man seems to shove a black man, I believe, in a red T-shirt, and then a black man in a white shirt decides to throw a punch and beat this guy. And then the next thing you know, people from out of nowhere jump on this guy. And it's mob rule. The next thing you know, this guy, look, you got women in there doing what? Or this guy pushed one other guy. And the next thing you know, there's a swarm. Next thing you know, this guy's wife gets knocked out. The white guy's wife gets knocked out. This is crazy. This is insane. And there are too many of these videos. This is all over a simple shove. People on social media are calling it, he slapped a guy and this is what happened. Where are all these other people? What are all the kicks? All these other people involved, nearly beating this guy and his wife. I don't think we had the video yet where you can see his wife getting sucker punched from behind, but she gets knocked out cold. This is insanity. This is absolute insanity, and people have to speak against it because as bad as this video is, there's videos of this same activity of black people doing this to other black people. We all know it. There is a black KKK. We all know it. And just like Alex Jones said, hey, the white KKK used to exist. It has been eliminated because our government, our law enforcement, a concerted effort to eliminate it. And it was eliminated. Look, do you see that? This is a woman coming from behind, knocking his wife out. Over what? This is insanity. This has to be addressed. This can't continue. So I want to play you additional clip from Alex Jones, where he talks about his history, and he talks about a reporter for InfoWars that was killed, shot by a black man. This is within the past 6 months, I believe, certainly within the past year. Let's play the second Alex Jones clip.
I grew up in Dallas, and more than half the folks I had to fight were black. And it was almost always, I'm going to beat your white ass. They were a lot bigger than me. And grew up tough, grew up mean. My fists got hard, and I actually really appreciate all that racial attacks. It made me tough. And the rednecks were tribal too, got in the wrong area, were out with their girlfriend, didn't know it. You had to fight some, shit kickers, as we called them. And I was kind of a shit kicker myself. So a few fights with Mexicans, not really, much, but sure as hell gave me a compound fracture. 5 of them, well, really 4 fought me, but I beat 2 of their ass and they tackled me and stomped my leg open, so that wasn't too friendly. That's what they say, those Sicily, Mexicans, you might start winning the fight, you're about to get your ass stabbed or something like that. So the point is, I've been around the block a little bit, so I've been racially attacked. I never attacked anybody for what color they were. I've been attacked plenty for what color I am. And then Jamie White, my reporter, they charged 2 of them with capital murder. One wore Mexican flags and talked about how much he didn't like white people, and the black guy that reportedly is a shooter made a rap song about how he killed Jamie White, the white man. Killed that, bleeper. So, about a mile from where I'm sitting, they executed my reporter, and they said part of it was because he was white. So, I'm going to keep talking about it, and people that don't like it, sorry, facts are the facts. You expose this type of evil, and it's how you stop it. Rest in peace, Jamie White, and everybody else been murdered like this. The same thing in Europe or everywhere else. It's open season on white people, and white people need to stop cowering down to this and bowing down to this. They need to stay, we understand what's going on, it's wrong. And the ADL, Southern Poverty Law Center, the Democrats, and Hollywood, they're the ones all behind it. They know exactly what they're doing. Defunding the police and all the rest of it. And the group's worse hurt by the minority, it's really majority crime wave, are Hispanics and blacks in these lawless areas. And then, boy, a white person comes through that, they are like, woo, it's that, that person deserves it. Remember the head of the new Black Panther Party down in Houston, said, don't mug in the black area, go out and mug and kill white people. How about you don't go and mug and kill anybody? How about that?
Everybody, and Justin or someone back in Dallas, I want you all to, while I'm going to talk here, I'm going to give you time. I want you to rewind to the part where Alex Jones references who's behind it, and he references the ADL. If we could rewind to that, because I'm going to circle back and I want to zero in on that aspect for just a moment. So get that ready, and I'm going to ask for it here in a second. But Alex Jones, the reason why I'm doing this show, I don't know Alex Jones well. I've communicated with him over text, talked on the phone briefly with him. I don't know him well, but I respect his work, and everybody that I know who does know Alex Jones well swears by him that he's a rock solid human being. Everything that I've seen from him publicly. And yes, I know that he made a mistake or allegedly made a mistake about Sandy Hook. And Whitlock said he allegedly made a mistake about Sandy Hook. To me, everything that I understand about that, he was set up and baited into that mistake because they wanted to bring Alex Jones down. Alex Jones has very, very powerful enemies, and they set him up. In my view, that's an opinion. It's not a fact. They set him up. But everything that I understand about Alex Jones, rock solid human being, a force for truth, a force for good. And I don't care if you've been brainwashed into believing he's Satan, he's the Antichrist, or he's a liar, he's this, he's that. I don't buy any of that. This is a rock solid person who's experienced some real difficulties over the past few years as they've taken his money, tried to destroy him. He's had an employee that I'm sure was a friend of his murdered. And I want to make sure that I loudly support Alex Jones and any other white man, white woman with the courage to take this on directly. There is a problem in America. And Alex Jones, I want to circle back to that clip that I asked for, or that aspect of the clip. We'll play the second half of what we just heard from Alex Jones. I think we have it, or we're there. Could we replay that clip?
I need to read about a newspaper, okay? Long before the left advertised that it was an open season on whites and we deserve it, and became a big news in New York with all the black folks attacking white and Asians. The media spun it and said we need to stop white anti-Asian violence. They just made that up. Whites have the lowest violent crime rate after Asians. It goes Asians, actual China, South Korea, Vietnam, Eastern Asians. They have the lowest crime rate, and then it's white people that goes up from there. Statistically. That's just a fact. Black on white crime, on average, about 15-1, depending on what city you're in. About 3-1 in the country. So, and it gives all these great black people that I know and have been around my whole life bad name. They're worried about it. And there's plenty of crazy white people and Hispanic gangsters as well. It's just statistically,
That wasn't it. There was a point in the clip that we played where he referenced the people that were behind it. And he said, he referenced the ADL and the left and liberals. If when we have that aspect, send me a text and I'm going to circle back to it. But I'm bringing this up because I want Alex Jones, I want Charlie Kirk, I want anybody, Matt Walsh, all these people that have been labeled as polarizing white guys who are too outspoken and they're racist. I want all of them to have the courage to speak out against what is obvious. The white KKK has been replaced by a black KKK. They terrorize their own neighborhoods and intimidate people from speaking against them. And they terrorize their own community and own people who want to speak honestly. about what's going on, and then they occasionally, and I say occasionally, but too frequently, do violence against white people when given the opportunity and the chance. And this needs to be spoken against publicly. It is a plague that is driving a racial divide. And none of this is on accident. People want a racial divide. People want racial conflict. People want black and white people pitted against each other so that we can't really examine the real problem. And the real problem in America, and I'm sorry, I'm not going to spend this entire show or a long period of time with this reference I'm about to make. We'll have to circle back to it on a different show. Today, I want to focus in on the black KKK. We have to identify what the problem is. And I'm going to identify the source. Alex Jones has made reference to it, but it's this whole, who's in control of the money? Who's financing a culture where it's acceptable to be a part of the black KKK? Who in Hollywood, in corporate America, is financing the degeneracy, the violence, the debauchery, the profanity? Who's financing the banks? Who's created a system where there are rewards for promoting the black KKK? Because that's all hip hop music is. That's all much of what you see from pop culture and television culture if it pertains to black people. What are the roles that are designed for us in Hollywood? Who's promoting this, paying for it? It's crystal clear to anybody who's been noticing. Crystal clear. And I'm not trying to demonize anybody. And anybody that can sit here and complain. I come on this show virtually every day, every week, and I point to black people and hold us accountable. I'm not giving black people a free pass for anything. But we should not give the financiers a free pass either. The people benefiting from it. So here in Cincinnati, they have a female police chief, some fat older white woman. And yes, I'm fat. And so she can call me fat too. Call me a fat older black man. But I'm not an idiot. And she is an idiot. She's a DEI hire that came out, and yet you look at that violence perpetrated against either visitors to Cincinnati or Cincinnati residents. And as the police chief, you think your proper reaction to the black KKK basically burning a cross at the Cincinnati Jazz Festival, your reaction is to blame social media and to blame the media. Let's hear from the Cincinnati police chief.
Another topic I want to cover real quick. Social media and journalism and the role it plays in this incident. And yes, guys, that's you. That is you. Social media, the post that we've seen, does not depict the entire incident. That is one version of what occurred. At times, social media and mainstream media and their commentaries are a misrepresentation of the circumstances surrounding any given event. What that does, that causes us some difficulties in thoroughly investigating the activity and enforcing the law. Because what happens, that social media post and your coverage of it distorts the content of what actually happened. And it makes our job more difficult. Go ahead, right here.
Thank you. 2 questions. Where were the nearest officers?
In the central business section. They were working. They were both in vehicles, and like I said, they had to maneuver through the traffic.
Second question is, do you said social media and news media distorted the content of what actually happened? What exactly was distorted? I understand that there was multiple views of the video, but exactly what led up to this? I mean, what was distorted?
Yeah, so I think by the irresponsibility with social media is it just shows one side of the equation quite frequently, without context, without factual context. And then people run with that. And then it grows legs and it becomes something bigger that we then have to try to manage as part of the investigation. So,
Woman had no answer. She was asked a follow-up question to clarify her comments, and she had no answer. She just repeated herself and tried to distract. She got caught with her pants down because she has no answer other than if she wanted to be truthful and say, hey, man, these clips have got people upset and we're getting trashed all over social media for not having enough law enforcement policing the Cincinnati Jazz Festival and the areas around it, and we look silly and stupid. And you don't have all the context about, hey, we had deployed cops here, we had deployed cops there, that's the context that she thinks we're missing, because we've seen the videos, we've seen the shove that sparked this, and we've seen the overreaction to the shove by people that were uninvolved, other than their black KKK members, and one of the KKK members got shoved, and so the rest of the KKK members used it as justification. Hey, we get to wild out and beat up and stomp and curb stomp a white man and a white woman. This is the black KKK, and everybody knows it. And we're developing young black KKK members with this victimhood mentality, with what's being taught in schools, from Harvard all the way down to grade school. It's being taught you're a victim. White people have mistreated you. White people owe you a debt. White people are the most evil thing on the planet. You're being programmed to be a KKK member, to blame everything on white people. It's no different than the white people from 100 years ago that were brainwashed and programmed into believing all of their problems were the result of black people. And I believe we have the clip here from Alex Jones where he referenced who's gaslighting the black KKK. The same people that were gaslighting the white KKK. Play the clip.
So I've been racially attacked. I never attacked anybody for what color they were. I've been attacked plenty for what color I am. And then Jamie White, my reporter, they charged 2 of them with capital murder. One wore Mexican flags and talked about how much he didn't like white people. And the black guy that reportedly is a shooter made a rap song about how he killed Jamie White, the white man. Killed that, you know what, bleeper. So, about a mile from where I'm sitting, they executed my reporter. And they said part of it was because he's white. So, I'm going to keep talking about it, and people that don't like it, sorry, facts are the facts. You expose this type of evil, and it's how you stop it. Rest in peace, Jamie White, and everybody else been murdered like this. The same thing in Europe, everywhere else. It's open season on white people. And white people need to stop cowering down to this and bowing down to this. Need to stay. We understand what's going on. It's wrong. And the ADL, Southern Poverty Law Center, the Democrats, and Hollywood are the ones all behind it. They know exactly what they're doing. Defunding the police and all the rest of it. And the group's worse hurt by the minority, it's really majority crime wave, are Hispanics and blacks in these lawless areas. And then, boy, when a white person comes through that, they are like...
ADL, Anti-Defamation League, Democratic Party, and the Hollywood elite. That's who's behind it. That's who's gaslighting the black KKK, poisoning black people with a mindset that radicalizes them. You want to talk about radical Islam? We got Hollywood, the ADL, and Democrats, Joe Biden. White supremacy is the greatest threat to America right now. And people just sucking that up. And the co-conspirators, many of these black churches that are activist groups that don't preach about Jesus and salvation, they preach about, hey, we're victims of white people and we got to go out in the street. George Floyd died. And yes, I know that he robbed women and abused drugs and was a violent criminal, but he's black and a white man was on the scene of his drug overdose. We must go out and protest. Because that's what happened to George Floyd, is a symbol of how white America feels about all of America. They want to put a knee on all of our necks. Go out and kill Whitey. Be violent towards Whitey. And I want to play you this clip. We've shown it to you before of the poison that we're feeding our babies. That this little fat kid is walking away from a fight, and one of these brainwashed, programmed babies that we have brainwashed and programmed sucker punch and cold cocks this kid from behind. Play the clip.
You want to come up behind me and kick me in the back?
No, so he got you back. I don't know what's your
We did this with the music. We did it with the program, the victimhood mentality, the hate whitey mentality. We did this. Oh, I know kids fight. This is what kids do. Hey, man, we see way too many of these fights where it's rarely, perhaps never, one-on-one. I used to be a kid. Any of you listening to this show, watching this show, you used to be a kid. Kids used to fight one-on-one. Again, I'm old. But here's what we used to do. Kid want to fight, all the other kids would circle around us, and the two kids would put their shoulders together and walk around in a circle. Anybody remember that? It would be a one-on-one fight, and before the fight, you'd walk up and the other kids would be circling. Oh, there's going to be a fight. There's going to be a fight. And then the two kids that were going to fight, they put their shoulders together and walk around in a circle until the fight jumped off. And then it would be a one-on-one fight. I can relate to that. I think most of us, most boys, men, we can relate to that. But when we see three babies jump on another baby, what are we doing here? When we see a man have a dispute with another man and shove him, and then another man uninvolved takes the first punch, and then 5 or 6 others jump in, it's unrelatable. It's prison mentality, and I'm going to get to that at some point today. And Steve Kim, hopefully I'm going to get to you, but I'm fired up, and I'm not sure how long it's going to take me to get through all this, because I'm just at the beginning of where I want to go with this, because I'm going to make a sports connection here in a second. But I want to play you one other clip. I'll show you the black KKK. These kids in hoodies want to be menacing, want everybody to be afraid of them. Here's a black KKK member taking a bottle over the head of some unsuspecting man. This is crazy. And we've legalized this. We've normalized this. We don't bat our eyes at this. This is insanity. Play the clip. You got 2 or 3 white folks circled up having a conversation. Who knows what the dispute may have been over previously? But whatever the dispute might have been, it had de-escalated. And someone walks up or maybe nothing provoked it. Maybe there was nothing. Maybe this was some kind of gang initiation, some kind of KKK initiation. But this has to stop. This has to be spoken against. This leads to horrible consequences. This is at the heart of the racial divide. And the reason why Alex Jones is speaking out against it is because, like, hey, man, if I stay silent on this, if we all stay silent on this, it's going to have an inevitable conclusion. We will have racial conflict in America between black and white Americans, and that is what the enemies of America, the people jealous over American freedom, the people that want to bring down America, that's exactly what they want. They don't want us dealing with, confronting the real problem. And as black people, we have signed up to be the distraction from the real problem. Everyone's sitting around, there go the bad guy. Just like Alex, and I don't blame Alex Jones, but Alex Jones got to the real problem. He's smart enough to see it and have it figured out. But he, like everybody else, they can do the math. Man, 13% of the population, of that 13%, 7% of them are women, 6% of them are black men. How can 6% of the population over-index in violent crimes to that degree and then make music celebrating it and bragging about it? Because you've signed up to be the promoter. Hey, we're the bad guys. Look over here. We're the worst people on the planet. We're the problem. You signed up for that. And then you could say, well, it ain't me. I didn't do it. By not speaking against it, you might as well have done it. You look like a co-conspirator. You look like you agree with it. All the people that hop on Twitter or X or Facebook or Instagram to justify the wrath. Well, he pushed them first. You look like co-conspirators because you are co-conspirators. What did Martin Luther King say? Silence is betrayal. I'm just getting warmed up. Because I want to make the sports connection to all of this. And I want the sports connection is going to address just part of the justification for this insanity, for the justification for the black KKK. I'm going to get to that. Before I do, I want to thank our friends at Preborn for making today's show possible. Man, Preborn, there's a million reasons and one awesome reason to support Preborn. So the one awesome reason is because it will please God. Saving babies, helping Preborn save babies will please God. Now, again, there's a million reasons. Somewhere on this list of reasons to support Preborn is because Preborn supports me and supports what we're doing here at Blaze, supports what I'm doing right now. Not everybody has the guts, the intestinal fortitude, the integrity to support someone like me that will speak these kinds of uncomfortable truths. That, hey, there is a black KKK that's being used no different than the white KKK to stir racial division and to drive a wedge in this country. Preborn has the courage, the integrity, the intestinal fortitude to support me. That pales in comparison to pleasing God. but it's just another reason. And so that's why I'm begging you, imploring you, pleading with you, support preborn today, right now. Preborn, as you guys have heard me explain time and time again, expectant mother considering abortion. Preborn provides an ultrasound. Now the woman is twice as likely to choose life. Preborn comes in, steps up, supports that woman and the baby for up to 2 years. They do it $28 at a time. An ultrasound costs $28. 5 ultrasounds cost $140. Whatever you can afford to give, $28, $280, $2,800, whatever, $2.80. I'm not sure. That's probably difficult to give, but whatever you can afford to give, please, today, right now, pound 250, say the keyword baby, pound 250, keyword baby, or visit preborn.com/fearless. That's preborn.com/fearless. Please do it today. On today, when I'm doing this powerful of a show, show some love to the people at Preborn that make it possible and put a smile on God's face. Let me return. So this next aspect, I'm calling it, and pardon my French, I don't like to use these words, but we're keeping it real here, and I'm just in a really real and raw place. And I want to get to what justifies a lot of this stupidity and insanity and depravity of the Black KKK. I'm going to call this portion of the conversation, Nigga Please. Nigga Please. And because I want to say that to the Negroes that think, oh, a white person used the N-word, I must kill them. Nigga, please. That's some straight up BS, and you know it. And so I want to talk to you guys about a story in South Carolina where a high school football player, 17-year-old high school football player, I believe he's at Daniel High School it's in central South Carolina. I believe it's where Clemson University is. This high school is where I believe Dabo Swinney, the head football coach at Clemson, I think it's where his kids went to school. Daniel High School is where the football great DeAndre Hopkins went to school. Shaq Lawson, that I believe is in the NFL, he went to school at Daniel High School. In the political world, this is a great high school. Not that this guy I'm about to mention is a great politician, but this is Lindsey Graham's high school. Daniel High, it's a nice, suburban, safe high school with a great reputation. Well, over this summer, the football team, many of the football team members went to a 7-on-7 camp at Presbyterian College, I believe, in South Carolina, and it was a Fellowship of Christian Athletes event, FCA, putting on a 7-on-7. And a white kid that went with his high school teammates got jumped at this FCA event. They're staying in dorms, white kid, and I'm telling you this story off the top of my head. I've been reading about it over social media for the past 72. What's 72 plus 28? 90? Is that or 100? 70? No, plus 24. It's 24 hours in a day. 96. Last 96 hours. Anyway, high school, the white high school kid is at this 7-on-7 camp with his high school teammates. He goes and gets in the shower and then returns to his dorm room in a towel. When he opens up his dorm room, 3 or 4 of his black teammates are waiting on him in his dorm room. At least one of them is hiding in the closet. They jump out. They tell this kid to put some clothes on. These are his high school teammates. Tell the kid to put some clothes on. And then tell him, hey, we're going to beat your ass because in a chat, in a text chat, you use the N-word. The white kid said, no, I didn't. What are you talking about? I don't do that. And they start going back and forth about this. I didn't. There's no evidence. Show me where I did this. It didn't happen. And they tell him, hey, it's going to be worse. We're going to beat your ass even more if you don't cop to this. Kid wouldn't cop to it. He said he didn't do it. They jump and start beating the kid. I believe we have the video, I believe. Let's play a clip of these black kids jumping this white kid because he allegedly, in a chat, used the N-word. Play the clip.
I gotta get in here. Oh yeah. Tag him up. Tag him up. Make him feel them shits. Yeah, make him feel them shits. Nope. Don't even get up. Don't even get up. Don't even get up. Yeah. Don't even get up. Now watch your shit next time. You know what not to say to me. Oh, you'll be alright. Hey, both of them.
Those of you just listening, we just played the clip. Boy gets struck, looks 15 to 20 times, curls up. The reason why there's video of this is because the kid, as they're negotiating and arguing about whether he used the N-word in a chat, a text chat thread that they can't prove, but they're saying he did. As they're arguing about it, the kid's like, he can see what's coming. And so he takes his cell phone, props it up against a shoe under his bed, and positions himself somewhere. And on his, these guys got these smart watches now, Apple Watch, that are connected to their cell phones and all that. He presses a button on his phone so that on his Apple Watch so that his phone will start recording. And then he positions himself where his phone can capture what these guys do to him. And so that's how we have the video proof. This happened on July the 7th. The school and his parents immediately contact law enforcement, contact the school, and there were coaches. I believe 7 of the coaches at Daniel High School were at the event. I've, from best I could understand from the different people I've been able to talk with, that 2 of these 3 guys that beat him are 2 of the best players on the team, and they're underclassmen, they're juniors. So for the next 2 years, they would be the stars of the football team. This kid, the kid that gets beat up, has a concussion, and I believe it's possibly not his first concussion, but it's a severe concussion, and the doctors have told him he can't play football anymore. He can't play contact sports anymore. His chest and rib areas bruised. He went to the hospital. But this is all over, allegedly, in a chat. He used the N-word. And they can't even argue, and again, according to the police, from what I've read and what the early initial investigation, there's no proof that he ever did this. But they say he did. But the argument is, that the N-word was used by someone in the chat thread, but they didn't even really use it in a derogatory manner. They weren't being disparaging. They weren't saying, man, these N-words are out of control. Man, they're all idiots. Man, they all need to be shipped back to Africa. The allegation is that they use it in the chat thread the way the black kids use it in the chat thread and the way the black kids let it fall out of their mouth every chance they get, the way the black kids sing along to the rap songs and all that. This kid allegedly used the N-word like that. And they used it as a justification, hey, we get to beat the crap out of this guy. This is the black KKK. This is the mentality of entitlement and, hey, we're the chosen people. We're so special that if you say something bad about us, if you use some sort of verbal taunt or just use a word that we've deemed and determined, hey, you can't use that word, but we can. We're so special that we get to beat you up. We get to assault you. Nigga, please. Everybody listening to me right now knows that is a line of BS. That is some sort of primitive caveman, stupid, elitist, supremacist mentality that is unsustainable. If you're that retarded, you don't need to be around civilized people. If a word that you use constantly, if it's uttered by someone else, and even if it's uttered in a way that's not denigrating towards me, I get to beat them up. This is a fetish. This is a violence fetish. This is an anti-white fetish. This is a jealousy fetish. This is insanity. And the people running around defending this, because as best we can tell from the early reporting, these black players have been suspended for one game. You get to assault a teammate at an FCA camp, and you get a one-game suspension. Now, I want to be crystal clear on this. I do not believe in canceling 15 and 16-year-olds over a mistake like this. You want to suspend them for half the season? I'm good. One game, that's a slap on the wrist. Based on their logic, and I mean, a one-game suspension basically says, well, there's wrong on both sides. He may have used the N-word in a chat. And so I get why you were upset and wanted to beat him. That's what a one-game suspension said. There's wrong on both sides. He can't play this football season. You concussed him. You've made him a pariah among his peers and everybody at the high school, because this is an elite high school that wants to protect its reputation. The new head coach that just got installed in April, he's afraid of this, doesn't want to deal with this. This is a school that's had a lot of athletic success, and he wants to continue to have athletic success. There's probably a lot of guys on this team like, hey, man, these are our two best players. If we don't have them, my whole senior year is ruined. We'll only win 5 games this year. Can't we just make this go away? It's just one kid that got beat up, and he wasn't a starter anyway. Can't we just look the other way? He's a white kid. He's got both of his parents. He doesn't need football. These black kids, they need football, and we need them if we're going to contend for a state championship over the next 2 years. If we suspend them for a significant amount of time, they might transfer to another school. This is the world we've created. We compromise on any and everything. And I want you all, I'm connecting now this to Alex Jones and why it's important for you to muster the courage to speak out. And yes, they will call you, if you're black, they're going to call you a sellout, an Uncle Tom, and a coon. I'd rather be called that than a coward. I'd rather be called that than to disappoint God. If you're white, they're going to call you racist. So what? So what? Your children, and I'm speaking to you, white folks in particular, your children, you're putting your children in harm's way. If you keep allowing this to happen without objection, if the moral system or the moral code is, well, if you say the N-word or get accused of saying the N-word, young black kids, young black KKK members get to beat you within an inch of your life. You're going to subject your kids to that so that you can avoid being called a racist? Really? Really? You can look your kids in, because your kid, those of you with sons and some of you with daughters, your kids want to play sports. They want to be on the football team too, even if they don't play a lot. They want the exercise. They want the camaraderie. They want the fellowship. They want the life lessons learned from challenging themselves. But you're going to put them into an environment where a group of black kids say, hey, man, we saw a group chat. You use the N-word. We get to beat you up. This is the equivalent of and black people objected. Hey, Emmett Till, you whistled at a white woman. We get to kill you. That's what we're talking about here. Hey, you said the N-word. And yes, I know you can't go to a football or basketball game at the high school, collegiate level without hearing music that repeatedly uses that word. You can't talk to other black people or kids without them repeatedly using that word. The word is everywhere. But if you use it, we get to beat you up. Hey, you just can't put up with this forever. And yes, you're going to get name called. And yes, you'll be misunderstood. But you already know. And again, this wasn't over the N-word so far. We haven't heard that allegation yet, but I'm sure it's coming. But you're just going to continue to tolerate this? Austin Metcalf's family moved out to Frisco, Texas to escape, to be in a safe environment where kids might put shoulders together and walk around in a circle and fight one-on-one with their hands. That's about as bad as it can get, or back in my day, that was the norm. That's how kids settled some disputes that turned violent. They fought with fists one-on-one. And so you move out to a place like Frisco, Texas, and you think, well, worst thing that could happen, my boy gets a black eye. Austin Metcalf's family, they're dealing with Karmelo Anthony stabbing their young son in the heart over nothing. They moved to Frisco. Where are you moving to next? And nothing but empathy and sympathy for Austin Metcalf and his family. And that was not Austin. Well, I think that was Austin Metcalf, but it almost looked like Ethan Lyman. You guys remember Ethan Lyman? High school football player in Akron, Ohio. Some kind of squirt gun or water pellet incident cost him his life. Promising young high school football player snatched from his family when two black boys, brothers, beat him to death and then got like 18-month sentences for murder. How many of these events have to happen? Ethan Lyman, promising high school football player. Austin Metcalf, promising high school football player. And now this kid in Daniel at Daniel High School in South Carolina, football player, not killed, but it could have spun out of control, jumped and beaten by teammates. And the school so far has a slap on the wrist for the perpetrators because they're great football players. All because, oh, you may have hurt the feelings of some black kid. And if you hurt the feelings of a black kid, they get to do whatever they want to do. If you hurt the feelings of some black woman while she's checking in for her flight at Spirit Airlines, she gets to do whatever she wants to do. This is unsustainable. And it's imperative for all of us that accept Jesus Christ as our Lord and Savior to object, to call this what it is. It's a new form of the KKK. They're black and they wear black hoodies and they terrorize any and everybody that disagrees with them or disrespects them. One last aspect I'm going to get to. Before I do that, I do want to remind you all that, again, in particular, if you like today's content and you want to support me and my ability to say this type of thing, to speak this rawly and this honestly, and to hold people accountable and to push up against a corrupt culture, you need to go to fearlessmission.com right now and become a subscriber. Fearlessmission.com. Use the promo code FEARLESS. Get $20 off your annual subscription to The Blaze. It's the greatest thing you can do for me and for this show. Get in the game. Okay. Let's say, and I don't want you to be a coward and not speak up against this. But let's say you got your reasons. I got a job. I can't speak up. Can't do it. You can become a Blaze TV subscriber. You can go to fearlessmission.com, use the promo code FEARLESS, and subscribe to this show and support me and what we're doing right now. You can do that. And I say that this isn't me begging, this isn't me pleading, this is me just like, hey man, this stuff that I'm doing, holding the people accountable, pointing the finger at like where the real blame goes. I gotta have support. This isn't easy. There is a headwind blowing very strongly against me, this channel, and what we're doing. YouTube will not like this content. The ADL will make sure they don't. The Democratic Party will make sure that they don't. The Hollywood elites will make sure that they don't. All the powerful people, all the people with the money, they will make sure they don't. The counter to that, fearlessmission.com, become a subscriber. I can stand tall, boldly, and continue to say these things. Let me move to the last aspect of this. Prison Planet. And scroll up, Luke. where Prison Planet. And I just want to connect the last dots here, where I'm coming from as it relates to the Black KKK. And in 2007, I wrote a piece for Playboy magazine, and they titled it "The Black KKK" by Jason Whitlock. And they did that. It irritated me at the time because, and I know some of you are like, what are you doing, Jason? You're a Christian. What are you doing writing for Playboy? This is me back in 2006, 2007. I told you who I was. I told you what I was about. And you know, that's not me today. But anyway, they titled the article wrong. But they did it because in 2006, when you remember there was this great football player named Sean Taylor, a safety for the Washington Redskins, and he got murdered in his home. And I wrote for Fox Sports at that time that, hey, man, we don't need to wait on a police report. We know the black KKK did this. And so this is 2006. And I'm right. I was like, hey, man, we ain't got to wait for the police. We know some black folks went up in this man's house and killed him, probably trying to rob him, who knows what. And people went off. Because I said this before any arrests were made. How dare you? You're profiling the killers. But we all know the deal. There's no mystery here. We know what the leading cause of death is for black boys, I believe, age 14 to 24. And at the time, I believe Sean Taylor was 23, 24 years old. It ain't car accidents. It's murder, homicide by other black men. And people were irate. How dare Jason Whitlock compare black men killing other black men to the history of the KKK? Doesn't he know how bad the KKK was? And he's diminishing the trauma that black people went through in the 1800s and 1900s because of the KKK. I'm like, hey, miss me with all that. The Crips and the Bloods, the gangster disciples, these gang-banging Negroes got more bodies on them, more black bodies on them by thousands than the KKK. Everybody knows this. It's no mystery. And I wrote and talked about then, like, hey, man, because this is back in 2006. The Masterpiece Lounge was still up and kicking, and my dad's bar in the inner city in Indianapolis is still my favorite place on earth. And I would say, like, hey, man, when I go down to Masterpiece Lounge and all the people, my father carries a .38 pistol, and he's not carrying it to fend off, oh, boy, these white people going to come down to the Masterpiece Lounge, and they may rob me or they may shoot me. No, my father carried a pistol because the black KKK was right there in his neighborhood. He carried a pistol just in case he had to drop one of these young Negroes that wanted to challenge him. And we would sit around at the Masterpiece Lounge, and my father, who built a new home in the hood, and we said, what nobody, oh, boy, the police may come and harm me. Oh, white people may come and get me. No, the black KKK might do something. So I'm going to put some bars on these windows, and I'm going to carry this .38. And if one of these black KKK members gives me some static, I'm going to drop him and deal with the consequences. They terrorize the neighborhoods they live in, intimidate the people within those neighborhoods, and then occasionally, in comparison to how many Negroes they kill, occasionally they'll kill white folks when given the opportunity. Same as the KKK. And so I started saying that in 2006, and Playboy was like, hey, man, we want you to write an article for us. You can write about anything. We don't care. We just want you to write for us. You know, you're the best sports writer. You're one of the best culture critics out there. Well, you can write about anything. And so I said, okay, yeah. I'm going to write about the drug war and what mass incarceration has done to American culture. And I called the piece all throughout. The word black KKK was never in the article, but what it talked about was incarceration nation. And I talked about how prison culture was becoming pervasive throughout America. And I centered the piece around California's penal system, Department of Corrections, and how powerful the prison guard union was in the state of California. I believe at that time it was the number one financial donor in state politics in California, It was the correctional officers. They had incarcerated so many people and employed so many correctional officers who received overtime. These guys are all making six figures and blah, blah, blah. But it put a poison, the whole prison culture that hip hop promotes and sends out, that it was poisoning American culture. And I was complaining then, this is in 2006, 2007, like, hey man, Barack Obama's running for president. No one's even asking him about this incarceration rate and this culture that was coming from prisons. And so if you want to look at the source of the Black KKK, it's prison. And if you want to look at, and I'm not talking about, hey, let's let everybody out of prison. That's not my agenda here. But we've created a prison planet. And when you look at what happened in Cincinnati at the Jazz Festival, that's what goes on inside of prisons. You mess with one black gang member and the entire black gang jumps in and beats you up. And now that mentality is out and pervasive on the streets. In these major cities where you have these Soros-funded prosecutors and you have these lenient policies as it relates to violent crime, and we let people in and out of jail, and criminality and violent criminality is running rampant because so many people that have been raised and developed inside our prison system are running free. They're acting like their behavior is the exact same as the behavior that it takes to survive in prison. So the white man, because of popular culture, because of music, because of television, you can't watch a TV show without some sort of subtle messaging that the white man is the evangelical white man in particular is the most evil person on the planet and needs to be destroyed. He's in the crosshairs. He's public enemy number one. He should live in fear of a prison planet because the blacks and Mexicans run the prison systems. They got numbers in a lot of these prisons. So the white man is in the crosshairs. He's public enemy number one. And yes, as Alex Jones points out, and I point out, that the real victims of this prison planet, the real people getting hurt, destroyed, are actually black people. Our brand, our reputation, black men's brand reputation, I don't know if it's ever been lower. People are building communities to escape us. And many of us are like, I get why they're doing it. Because, and many of you listening, some of you leftists that are listening, you get enough money, you're going to escape us. Many of the white leftists, you've already escaped us. You're a limousine liberal. You don't want nothing to do with these Negroes either, but you talk that talk and pretend like you're some sort of expert. And, oh, if we just gave them enough money, that would fix it. And again, your solution, the solution that's painted in television, in movies, and in the media is, oh, just give them money. They don't need Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ is burning in a vat of doo-doo in hell. You don't need Jesus. You don't need the moral clarity of Jesus. You don't need Christianity. You need money. Don't you understand? Money is God. And so they're secularizing and have secularized all of black culture. And black people go to church, But as soon as they step out of the church, virtually all of their behavior is secular. Everything we love is secular. And I'm telling you, I used to have that love. I used to love that trashy, hip-hop, degenerate, prison-promoting music of hip-hop. I used to love it. Until I poured enough Jesus in me that now I hate it. Hate it. You should hate evil. When I look at the behavior that's captured way too often on video, and we see it all over social media, and I look at the behavior of people jumping, innocent black people, innocent white people, this sort of, I hate it. It repulses me. It sickens me. But I understand where it comes from. And I understand the solution. How do we push back against it? Speaking out and calling it as we see it and pointing people to Christ. And I know that sounds, trust me, we have to lock up the evil people. And I don't care what color they are. And if Michelle Alexander comes out with another book, and I bought the first one, Mass Incarceration, she comes out with another book, say, oh, the mass incarceration, I won't care. I won't bat an eye. Evil, violent people need to be locked up. I don't have to throw pity parties for them. If George Floyd wants to suck down enough fentanyl to kill Secretariat and Seabiscuit and can't breathe because the police have questioned him about the counterfeit money he's trying to toss around, I'm not going to shed a tear when he can't breathe anymore because he won't cooperate with police. I believe it's 1 Corinthians 5, where we're instructed, hey, you got to pray some of these people into Satan's hands. It's the only thing that will fix them. We got to lock up some of these people. And then because in prison, they have a better chance of finding Jesus there than out here in this secular world that's controlled by people that totally object to Jesus Christ. Steve, I don't know what time it is. What time is it? Oh, wow, not bad. I'm only 15 minutes late. That I had to get that off my chest. We're going to bring Steve Kim on, talk a little sports here in a second. Give me a second. We'll get to Steve Kim. Next.
Comments and stuff, but I've never watched a second of anything that he says. But I think it's so ironic that he would equate it to food. Like, don't you think that?
Love it. Love it. No, it's not. It's fitting. You're right.
Like, I'm like, what show are they watching? And then Joy's inference that, yeah, I've never watched his show. But Joy, let me give you the first step towards sincerity and authenticity. Unfollow me on Twitter or X. If you're going to make the statements, you've never seen my content, you don't know what I'm doing, you don't keep up with me, in order to sell that in an authentic manner, unfollow me on X, and then it becomes believable. You follow about 1,500 people. You're not one of these people that follows 10,000. Unfollow me on X and then make the statement that, hey, I don't know what that person says or does. I have no idea. Is he still alive? Cut it out, Joy.
모두 다 빨리 박수 쳐 기다리지 말고 서둘러 Isn't that I'm back just to feed you raps I see that you are 배불러 So
All right, welcome back. Time for a little Korean Cosell. We'll lighten up the conversation a tiny bit initially. We'll talk about Deion Sanders Deion announced yesterday, shortly after our show, that he has bladder cancer. He's been cured from it, or he feels like he's cancer-free, had it removed, had a very enlightening, humble, inspirational, somewhat sad press conference. And I mean that sad in a good way, in terms of like it tugged at your heartstrings. Steve, what did you think of the press conference from Deion Sanders and his announcement that he has bladder cancer?
Well, first of all, I was very relieved that his health has been clarified, that he's gotten through this. And given someone that is now at my age, and Jason, I don't know about you, I haven't been to the doctor in years. I feel as though I'm healthy, try to live a very clean lifestyle, try to work out, eat healthy, drink a lot less than I did before. But as I'm watching most of this press conference, it just kept creeping into my mind. I need to go see the doctor, at least for a yearly checkup, which I have not had in about 15 years. That's the thing that was the overriding message. And that's what I did enjoy about it, is like, men, at a certain age, we have to look out for ourselves and be selfless and do a very selfish act and get a checkup.
I think one of the most overwhelming emotions I felt yesterday was just like, man, getting old, it's a blessing, but it sucks, man.
Yeah.
Because it just seems like there's bad news. All right, because if it isn't you, it's someone you know. Deion and I are the same high school recruiting class, same age, came of age together. And you think about Deion Sanders as one of the greatest athletes we've ever seen. Professional football and baseball player, arguably the greatest athlete to ever play in the NFL. He's certainly in that discussion. And you just think of this vibrant person full of energy. And now over the last 3 to 4 years, it's health problems. And, I love Deion's spirit. Deion wants to be an example, as you suggest, to other men on how to handle this and how to keep a stiff upper chin and get through this with positivity. And, obviously I've been a critic of Deion and don't regret any of that. But I also look forward to being able to use this part of Deion's life and what he's representing as a positive, and to talk about it in a positive way. And so I liked what I saw from Deion yesterday. Really love what I've seen from Deion Jr. in terms of his level of support for his dad. And yesterday I didn't understand, like, well, why are they doing all this publicly? Yeah. And they're doing it publicly. Deion's trying to be a role model for other men.
Well, Jason, he's a college football coach. He's recruiting people to get their annual checkup. That's what he was doing, and I thought it was a very strong pitch. Jason, you talk about the perils of getting old, how it is a blessing and a curse. I think it was about 1.5 years, 2 years ago, there was a documentary on Sylvester Stallone about his life and his career, and he said something that was really poignant. He said, I am now at the age where I am now losing more friends and relationships than gaining them. I mean, that's a sobering thought. I mean, really think about it. For the first 40 years of our lives, we add to our roster of acquaintances, friends, family members. But then on the back half, that shrinks down naturally. And I'm at the stage, we're all at the stage. If you go on Facebook, you'll hear an announcement from one of your old high school classmates that you still love. Maybe not seen them in 20 years, but you have a great place in your heart for them. And they'll talk about a parent that they just lost. And I'm just telling you, it's hard not to almost get a little bit emotional, like, wow, I once was in their living room and they fed me lunch, or they used to pick me up from school. They used to give. It's hard not to go through these emotions. Mark Richt said something in one of his last years at the University of Miami about his life and career. He says, I'm at the stage now where the days are long and the seasons are short. And it was very poignant yesterday with the passing of Ryne Sandberg, a kid that as a child of the 80s, I'm sure a lot of people watched him every day during the summer on WGN, right, the Superstation. And I'm not a Cub fan, but I'm an admirer of Rhino, one of the best players I've seen at that position. And I think about it, is when we're young, we think of 65 as being, oh, that's forever. Jason, we're not that close. We're not that far off from 65. thinking about that is very, very sobering.
Steve, the other thing I thought about as it relates to Deion, and I don't know if he's here, but I would say it was probably around age 45 to 50. And this is a very morbid thought, but I did have it. And I just like, hey, man, life has been fair to me. Yeah. I've had so many blessings. I've seen so much. I've traveled here. I've traveled there. I met this person. I was at this historic event. I was able to do this for my family. Obviously I have some regrets, but I did reach a mindset where I'm like, man, life's been fair. And it's not that I'm comfortable dying, but it's that I'm not going to complain, because I know so many people whose lives were cut short at a much earlier age. And I know so many people that didn't get to experience the kind of life that I've been able to experience. And I just wonder, I know Deion, again, I don't have kids. Deion's got, I believe, 4 kids, 3 sons and a daughter. But I wonder if Deion's mentality is like of so much, man, I got so much to be grateful for. Life has been fair. And whether I have 20 more years or 2 more years, I've been dealt a fair hand.
This is my opinion, because I've never spoken to Deion. I'm not in his head. If the prognosis was a 180 and it's like, hey, Mr. Sanders, you got about 6 months to live, there's probably a part of him that says, I have lived an unbelievable life, incredibly unique, a piece of American history, not just sports, but American history. He's a pop culture icon in a lot of ways. There's probably a large part of him that says, I have no regrets. How can I really complain? But I think in one of those interviews, or maybe it was during the press conference, I think he recently had his first grandchild. And he's like, at this point, I'm at the point in my life, well, wait a minute. Now I'm living to see her grow, or him grow, whoever that is. I also believe, and I talked about the selfish act of getting checked out for your own individual health. Jason, I don't know about you. I thought it was incredibly admirable, but that he said to his own kids, I'm not letting you know, because you got your own life. You're preparing for the draft. You're trying to make a football team. I'm not going to be a burden on you. And then he didn't even tell his football team. Now, that, I know people can look at it both ways, but he said, I got this surgery the way I did it because I got to coach games, and every Thursday during the season, I don't want to have to cut out in the middle of practice. I mean, think about the sacrifice he's making, because he's saying, hey, when we start fall camp all the way to the bowl game, I'm going to be your football coach, and I'm going to live up to my obligation. I find that to be incredibly admirable.
All right, well, we will be, I guess I'm now going to be rooting for Colorado, and I say that in all sincerity. Really? I am, really? Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Deion's a feel-good story at this point, and I'm going to be rooting for Colorado. Steve, I want to move on to this is, I don't know if this story is humorous, if it's sad, I don't know, but Christian Wilkins, the defensive tackle for the Oakland or Las Vegas Raiders, who played at Clemson, who has a history of setting off gaydar alarms, seems to have set off a gaydar alarm in the Las Vegas Raiders locker room that cost him his job. I believe we have Adam Schefter. Do we have an Adam Schefter clip? I believe of Adam. No? Yes? Anyway, here's a clip of his, and I remember this in real time. Yeah. And I didn't need the replay. I didn't have to wait for the replay to know something crazy had gone on. There's Christian. Mm-hmm. He's been setting off gaydar since his college days. Here he is in the NFL. With Josh Allen, it's not sure what's going on with Christian Wilkins, but the Raiders have let him go, and the reporting is that he tried to kiss a teammate on the top of the head, and it didn't go well. There's been no one's clarified to me which top of the head he was trying to kiss.
Oh, come on.
But he's been let go. Steve, your thoughts?
Here we are. I thought we were a family show, and you go there. But look, obviously, as we saw in that Ohio State clip, I think that was the national semifinals. Yeah, he's a defensive tackle that likes to plug the A gap. But Jason, is this the first case of NFL locker room Me Too? Think about it. An unwanted kiss, an unwanted advance, bang, allegations, and you get released. But I think this much is clear. You got a new coach. I think they're going to try to be a new organization. Pete Carroll, as fun and as energetic as he is, he's trying to change the culture. And Wilkins, I think last year was really banged up, did not live up to his contract. That action right there made their decision much easier in the big picture.
There's a couple things I want to add here that I'm not sure if they're connected, but they're just things that cross my mind. Just 2-3 weeks ago, Caitlin Clark was celebrating with her teammates in the Indiana Fever locker room when Sydney Colson walked up behind her and simulated a sexual act. No one batted an eye. Wasn't even worth discussing. Nothing. If that had happened on an NBA team, someone probably would have lost their job. There would have been an HR report. That's one thing. Here's the other thing, and I can't say the team. I can't say because I just can't. But a major college coach, or I will say this, a major college basketball coach once shared with me a story about walking in on one of his star players and a role player engaged in homosexual sex inside the locker room. This was after being alerted by a maid, came into his office screaming at the top of it, you gotta come. And he couldn't understand. Anyway. So these type, there is a WNBA element to professional sports, male professional sports that people don't talk about.
Well, okay, but going back to the Caitlin Clark thing when she backed that thing up, but isn't the difference that in the W that homosexuality or lesbianism is kind of not only accepted, but it's kind of, embraced and expected? And I mean, look, the NBA, no matter how feminized it may look at times, it's still basically a heterosexual league. When I think of the WNBA, I really don't think of, let's put it this way, heterosexualness overall.
Well, I'm going to connect it to what I was talking about earlier in the show. As things become more and more Prison Planet and prison culture continues to take over, I don't think we should be surprised that in NFL locker rooms, prison sex is being attempted. There's gay flirtation. All right, Steve, we're a little tiny bit tight on time, but I do want to get to my favorite segment, and I want to include you in today's favorite segment, As the WNBA Turns.
As the WNBA Turns, starring Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese, Asia Wilson, and other angry feminists. Brought to you by George Soros, Adam Silver, Kathy Engelbert, and the Global Elite.
Steve, I don't know if you saw this, but something absolutely unbelievable happened in the WNBA yesterday. I think this is a 2-minute excerpt from, I think it's the Washington Mystics and the Phoenix Mercury. Let's play the clip.
And it bounced around a lot, but at the end, it went through the rim. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no, is she gonna go head to the back? Oh no.
And a timeout called for Copper to deal with the malfunction. And now they have an issue with a fan. as the officials, as Phoenix's bench had an issue, they're having Alyssa Thomas and Nate Tibbetts point out which fan it is so that security here at Care First Arena can have that dealt with. As we're waiting to get back to play here. So the officials are now talking to arena security here. As you can see,
is my mic on? Can I?
So a fan said something. The Phoenix Mercury bench heard it, and they did not like what was said. They're taking exception to it, so Amy Bonner, crew chief, is trying to have this sorted out with the arena security here as to which person it was, and that way they can get it taken care of.
So Kahleah Copper accidentally had her weave snatched off the top of her head, revealing a bald spot or white hair, or I don't know what it was, at the top of her head. They stopped the game. So I want you to think this through, Steve. A woman loses her weave and they stop the game. If she loses her shoe, the game continues. But if she loses her weave, they stop the game. And then, not just that, a fan laughs and cracks a joke about the woman's weave coming off her head, and the Phoenix Mercury players complain someone's laughing, that someone's weave fell out, and they remove the fan from the arena because Alyssa Thomas overheard this fan laughing and cracking a joke about it. You just can't make this up. They stopped the game. This is unbelievable. Steve, your thoughts?
Yeah, that fan getting kicked out, I guess you could say, is a hair-raising situation. But, you know, that whole thing, it reminded me of the late 80s Purdue team, which was really good. They ended up getting upset, I think, right before the Sweet 16. Gene Katie, you know what they ran? The three-man weave. I think that the fan getting kicked out is actually a pretty big story no one's talking about. Are you allowed just to get thrown out? I know in every ticket that there's language talking about behavior, certain rules of conduct. I really want, number one, I don't know why anyone would support this league. It's the most unlikable ecosystem in American sports by far. I don't even think that there is a close second. I really don't. I don't even think the product's all that good. I'm still trying to figure out why you watch it on the days that Caitlin Clark doesn't play. But as a consumer, you go there for entertainment. And once in a while, there are bloopers. So are you saying that if, and trust me, there's a lot of bloopers in the WNBA, when they go through this montage of missed layups and other foibles, you're telling me no one's allowed to laugh? I think that's a very dangerous, slippery slope that they're setting there.
Steve, it connects to everything that I talk about on this show in terms of fans are the most disrespected people in all of sports, and we keep taking it. And now it's to the point where, like, oh, you laughed at something we don't find funny. We're so fragile. Your laughter, oh, we've been disrespected. Kick this person out of the game, and a player can go to the ref and say, hey, kick this. The ref then goes to security, and they kick someone out of the game. This is crazy. You can't do this. The fan has to have some rights, has to have some freedom. And this is my whole problem. You're right. As it relates to the WNBA, it's a communist organization filled with angry feminists who think we're about equality and equity. No, you're about being an elite. And if people don't treat you exactly how you want to be treated, you have them removed from your presence. They're actually the most intolerant people on the planet. Everybody has to kiss their butts or they get removed from the arena, or if you do something that they deem, oh, well, that's offensive, you laughed, when her weave fell out of her head. And I almost thought about having Shamika on just because I don't understand this whole weave thing. I don't understand why you would play basketball in a wig, or particularly in a long wig that could accidentally get pulled off. Why has everybody got the ponytail wig? Why not keep something short that, won't get pulled off, or just wear your own hair with something over it? I just don't understand. I don't understand being that embarrassed that you'd run off the court because you lost your wig. They stopped the game because someone lost a wig. And then the last thing, Steve, listen to the broadcaster. Yeah. They're acting like we can't even speak about what happened. They never say, hey, her wig got pulled off and she's leaving the court. It's too taboo to even reference that the woman lost a wig. There's so many unbelievable things happening in that video.
Jason, you know what would get me to watch a full WNBA game that doesn't even have Caitlin Clark on? It would be an alternate broadcast that would feature Charleston White. Now, that's a man that would say a few things that would be provocative and funny. So this is what we're going to do, Jason. We're going to work on this. We're going to get an alternate broadcast, Whitlock and Charleston. I will watch that. I will watch that.
Whitlock and White.
Make that happen. Make that happen.
Whitlock and White call in a WNBA game.
Yes, I will watch. We'll go pay-per-view. We'll break records. Yes, that's what has to happen for me to watch a full game.
I think I tend to agree with you. Steve, I'm going to let you go. Thank you so much. Thanks for participating in As the WNBA Turns. This, every night, it's something new with this league. And Steve's wondering why I watch it. I watch it for the comedy. I mean, I watch it for the comedy. I watch it just to understand. This is like watching a communist test drive. This is what communism looks like. Insane. Women that are delusional, wearing a horse's skirt over their head and getting upset and running off. Oh, someone pulled my horse's skirt off the top of my head. Seabiscuit's going to be so mad. I let his hair fall on the floor. Anyway, hope you enjoyed today's show. I did. We'll play. Head over to the Harmony channel in about 10 minutes. I'm going to be joined by J.D. Sharp. J.D. Sharp's been a frequent guest on this show. Today, I'm going to have him on the Harmony channel. He thinks the economy is about to collapse. I'm going to let him unpack that. And then he thinks the economy is going to tank and collapse. And then he thinks the conflict, the chaos, is really going to begin. We'll hear from J.D. Sharp on the Harmony channel. That's it, and that's all for us here on this channel today. We'll play tomorrow, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Waiting for the countdown, coming off the breakdown, standing in line for freedom. Looking for a breakout, feeling like a standoff, nothing in life like freedom. Came in like a fighter, striking like a ladder, making all these moves for freedom. I want freedom. No negotiation, my sister, no relation. We all just wanna have freedom. Sitting on a corner, never been alone. I'm breaking my back for freedom. Blessed, we are living, get back. We are receiving, all deceiving. We all wanna be free. We want freedom. I wanna be, I just want, I wanna be, I just want, I wanna be, I just want.